There's other ways that you can help our shelter, particularly by volunteering. We talked a little bit about foster care, but we can always use volunteers to help care for our animals. Volunteers come out, they socialize our animals, they walk dogs, they socialize the cats, and keep them happy while they're at our facility. Once an animal is put up for adoption at the Lexington Humane Society, barring any extreme change in health or temperament, it will stay there until it finds a home. So as long as that takes. Sometimes that ends up taking about 10 minutes. With a puppy, we put them on the adoption floor and the right person walks by and there you go. Our job is done and we're going home for the day. But some animals it does take a little bit longer. I think our longest resident was a little over 2 years. But we will continue to care for them, as long as they are adoptable animals, as long as it takes. So that's always, I think, a reassuring thing. And a lot of people don't know that about our facility. So I always want to make sure to inform people of that. So you can always volunteer, like I mentioned, socializing the animals. We also need help with special events. We've got our Beastie Ball coming up, which is our formal gala. That is our biggest fundraiser. We are a private nonprofit and we rely solely on private donations and community support. So we do not receive any funding from the government, from the Humane Society of the United States, from the ASPCA. It really is based off of the community, and we have a budget of about $2 million to help care for all of these animals. So we rely heavily on you all to help us out. So any sort of volunteering that you all can do is a huge help to us, and there's lots of different ways to do it. We require a commitment of about 4 hours a month for a minimum 6-month period. But with that, you can do pretty much what you want. We want to make it flexible and convenient for people who are interested in volunteering. And caring for our animals it's always a great stress reliever. People, you get off work, and since you're right over here by our main shelter, you come out, pet on a puppy, and get some puppy kisses, and suddenly your day's a lot better. Makes it a good day. So going back a little bit to pet care, we talked about making sure that you're getting stool samples. Another thing, like Dr. Pinkston has talked about, picking up stool is so important for a lot of different reasons. We talked about the zoonotic parasites that people can also pick up, but it also helps protect your dogs and cats, as well as just being a good neighbor. If you have an outside cat, they don't always, you don't always know where they go. So, they're digging in people's flower beds and to do their business. So that's part of being a good neighbor, is just making sure to pick up after your pet. But there is such a thing as well called parvovirus. Some of you may be familiar with it. Dr. Pinkston didn't touch on this, but it is an extremely contagious viral disease, particularly common in young puppies because they have not had all their vaccines. But any animal that has a weakened immune system can get this. And usually they will have vomiting, diarrhea, blood in the stool, severe dehydration. They become extremely lethargic, and it hits very suddenly. And there is no treatment for it. All a vet's office can do is give them supportive care. So it's very, very important to make sure that you're picking up after your animal, because we don't want to spread parvo throughout Lexington. And we see it every day when it comes into animal care and control. Starting this time of year especially, more and more animals are coming in with parvovirus. It's coming out from out in the community because people are not picking up after their animals. So if we can help that, it's such a serious illness. It is often fatal because we, can only give them really, subcutaneous fluids. That's really the only treatment we can do, and to keep them from being too dehydrated. But helping pick up after your animals is such an important thing. So we want to make sure that we're doing that. And of course, I know you all are great pet owners, so you're already doing that. But I think especially having the pet waste, the bags, will be a huge help. Because I know it's a convenience thing. Sometimes you're walking and you're like, oh no, I forgot a bag. And it's, of course, you're always down the block, and that's when your animal wants to do it. And you're like, oh, great. So having those will be a huge help, I think, for you all. Does anybody have any questions for me about the Humane Society, what we do, about our animals? About 25% of the dogs in shelters are purebreds. So I always suggest, a lot of people think, they have that misconception that, oh, the shelter, it's just mutts. They're just, or pit bulls. Well, we do get a lot of course, mixed breeds and pits. We get all kinds of great animals. We get everything from, we've got 2 Maltese right now. We get St. Bernards, we get Great Danes, we get every kind of dog that you can think of. And same with cats. We actually do get some purebred cats, Persians, Himalayans, Maine Coons, things like that. But we encourage you to come out to our facility and look around. People have that misconception of shelters as being the pound, that dark, dirty, dingy place that nobody wants to go. And that's why less than 5% of people have ever been to their local shelter. So we want to encourage people to come out to our facility, see how nice it is. We actually have an event today that'll be going on. So, you know, just coming out and visiting and, you know, getting to experience kind of the love of all of those animals is always a great thing. So, does anybody have any questions? Yes?
Is that a adoption center over in Southland too?
We do not have an adoption center over in Southland. We do have a permanent satellite center out at the Hamburg PetSmart though.
But there is something that's opened up. It's down at Southland. It says something about animal. I didn't know if it was yours or not.
It's not ours. It could be a rescue organization. It could be another shelter in a surrounding county. A lot of times we do those a lot. We will set up with some animals and try to get them adopted. So that's probably a different shelter doing the same sort of thing. We're always out there trying to get homes for our animals as much as possible. So, yeah. Any other questions about animals? All right. Well, I want to thank you all so very much for having us, and I encourage you again to come out and visit our shelter. And hopefully, if you have any, pet care questions, we do have an information center. We're always happy to help as much as possible. So, thank you.